But more turmoil today. More turmoil today at Manchester United. And I know you're ready for this because when you messaged me earlier today, you're like, are we going to talk about how shit United are? And of course, I would never duck a conversation like this. We'll get onto the Bayern Munich game later. But as we saw with Moyes, LVG, Jose Mourinho, the NDA has now run out and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is allowed to talk about the good, the bad, and the indifferent at the club. And he's been quite candid, really. He's spoke about his mistakes in terms of signing Ronaldo. He said it was hard to refute, but it ended up being a poor decision. He spoke about how his time at the club, he felt there was elements that were good, but he didn't win a trophy, so it won't be remembered how he wanted it to be. And I thought that was really good. I liked hearing that because that's him reflecting and saying, I've made mistakes. But some of the other information that's come out, mate. So the Glazers limiting him to just three new main signings every summer, as an example. He didn't know about this ahead of time, but the fact the limit's there for me is something people need to. That's not a defense of Solskjaer's time, but the practices at the club. He spoke about the signings of which they wanted that the club never went and got. Erling Haaland before he even made his debut at Salzburg. Declan Rice when he was very, very cheap in the early days at West Ham. Even Moises Caicedo, but the club felt that they needed players that were ready there and then. So there's three more that the club could have turned to. And crazily for me, that the behind the scenes things going on, some people not living up to their self-image. He says he won't name names. There was two players that turned down the opportunity to be captain. There were some that wanted out for a long period of time who refused to play or train because they were forcing their way out. The club, this is not a defense of Ten Hag now. There's definitely mistakes he's made. Oli made mistakes. Jose did. LVG did. But every time a manager's sacked, these stories are protected for a while under NDAs, but then come out. And they're so familiar every single time, mate. Every single time, the same nonsense. Managers not getting what they want, restricted on how much they can buy, player power dominating those dressing rooms. I just don't understand how Man United, I don't know what you think, are ever going to get back to any kind of normality around competing if they don't fix all these problems first, mate.
Yeah, you listen, when you see things like that coming out, and Solskjaer, to be fair to him, he's a United man, you know what I mean? He's a nice guy. He's probably not intended to hurt anyone, but he's probably just getting it out there that these problems exist. If people are turning down the chance to be Man United captain, either they're an absolute shithouse of a player and they've got no bottle, or they just don't want to be getting the blame for everything that was coming. They must be thinking, nah, I ain't putting my name to that. You know what I mean? I want to be out of there. But it's stinky at the minute there, and everyone's putting the boot in. But all this signing up for, you can have free signings a season, all this. I don't know why Ten Hag signed up to that, because his reputation at the time was he was the best up and coming manager in Europe, the way he had Ajax playing. And a lot of people advised him to stay away from the United job. He probably, looking at it now, I think he's doing a good job and don't think he's ever going to slag the club off. But it's the club inside. Like we've talked about it on here before. It's almost boring now. We know the chain of command is not good. We know it stinks. There's football people not there. There's business people running the show. But where does it end, and how does it get solved? I mean, you've got Arnold coming out today saying that he thinks they're catching up on Manchester City. I don't know what planet he's living on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he says here, Arnold claimed that Man United are getting closer and chasing down Manchester City, who says he says set standards across Europe. United are encouraged by Ten Hag's first season, plus the summer window, and change often requires pain before results. Just keep Man City out your mouth right now. Why apply that additional pressure to the manager and the team? It's crazy.
Well, that's what he's doing. And like you say, I said last week on this show that you get beat off Brighton, and everyone went mad. But I knew it was going to happen. I knew, you know what I mean? People need to start, Manchester United supporters need to get real now. They need to stop clinging on to the past. Stop telling everyone how big you are. Stop telling everyone how Manchester is red. Stop telling everyone that Man City are living in your shadow, because it's quite good and refreshing in the shadow at the minute. We're enjoying life in the shadow. So instead of putting all the energy onto us, get something sorted out. You're the biggest club in the world, apparently, even though you don't act like it. You've got more supporters in the world than anyone else, apparently. But you can't get rid of these parasites that are draining the life out of your club. When you sit back and look at what United have become from what they was, it's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. I don't see it getting any better. I was having a conversation yesterday with an ex-player, I'm not going to name him, and I said, any up and coming young player in Europe now that's got a decent agent will not be signing for Man United after all this shit that's coming out. If I've got a player and Man United ring me up and say, do you want to come to Man United? Man United 10 years ago, I'm saying, fucking hell, man. Man United's on the blower here. We're living the dream. Now, I'm saying, do not go anywhere near that gaff. Because look what's happening to the players. Sancho, they're leaving. They don't want to be there. Apparently, I got told that Sancho's training in the academy, but they haven't got a coach specified to train him. So if there's somebody that's not busy, then he does ball work with him. Other than that, he's running around on his own. So
it's ridiculous.
It's a shit show over there. You know what I mean? They were. It's just not going to get any better. Listen, I'm a City fan, and I'll be honest with you, I don't give a shit. I hope it continues. I hope the Glazers continue to make it rot. I hope it falls down. I hope they keep crying and telling me Manchester is red because we keep winning. And that's not me being a knobhead. That's me being a City fan. And Man United fans will wish that on me. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sympathise with them. They're getting the medicine. Far too long, these Glazers have had it too easy. You can stand outside a mega store all you want with a bed sheet on kit launch day and stop 40 people buying the kit. They're buying it online. You know what I mean? They don't care. And it's just a fucking shit show. They're going to get their ass into them tonight in Germany. Bayern Munich will beat them. There's a lot of players don't want to be there. Next summer, Ten Hag will be gone. He won't want to wear that. Certain players will think, what the fuck am I doing here? And I don't see an end to it. I don't see it getting better. Trust me.
Mate, do you know what's crazy about it? We'll get onto the game. But everything you've said is right. I've had rows with Lee Gunner about this, rows with other Man United fans about this. They are going to the same default response. Sack the manager, sell Bruno, sell Rashford. That will fix us.
It won't.
And I understand, it won't. And this is the problem that I have. I can review an individual match and say the manager shouldn't have gone to a 4-4-2 diamond. For me, should have started Palestri. I can do that, and you can criticize the manager for the mistakes that he has made. We've got big injuries at the minute. The injury and absent list at Man United is ridiculous. 50% of our strongest 11 are all out injured, and 11 players in total, a lot of them that would be used in our first team. That's one element of a problem that we've got that fans are overlooking. And I think that is an issue. I think if 6 to 7 of any one of the top 6 main starting 11 were out injured, there would be issues. But you add then in players that don't want to be there. You've got recruitment staff kicking off because their picks are not being purchased. With all due respect, they wanted Rabiot, not Casemiro. They wanted Pau Torres, not Lisandro Martinez, as an example. They didn't want us to sign Amrabat, who I personally think is a very good player. Again, they wanted us to go back in for Rabiot. You've got agents that are no longer having their pockets lined by the club, angry that Ten Hag was getting his agency to do the intermediary work on these deals. Now, there was a lie that was spread by them that we're signing all the players from that agency because his brother works there. Pep's brother also works for that same agency. Only one player at that agency has come to Man United. It isn't like this, we're signing all their players. None of the other players we've signed are with that agency, but Ten Hag trusts them because he feels like there are people that the club has been using historically who just try and do deals to line their pockets and not try to improve the first team. Now, that doesn't mean Ten Hag can't make mistakes. He is not impervious to that criticism. But what my club does, and our owners do it and the fans back it, when your manager, who's the best in the world right now, signed Bravo as a dud, signed fullbacks that didn't quite work, midfielders didn't quite work, your fans and your club said, fair enough, let's bring somebody else in better. You're limiting the managers to 3 main signings a summer, and the fans are getting angry every time they buy a dud saying he's got to be held accountable, let's get rid of him. There will be no improvement. The main focus and the main issue should always be removing the people that run our club, because this would be the 5th full-time manager failing on the bounce and the 6th failure on the bounce if you include Ragnick, who spent 6 to 7, 8 months here at the football club. And for me, I'm just seeing the same patterns over and over and over again. And I know you don't care. You're a City fan. You'll be enjoying watching this. But at the same time, as you say, 50 people standing outside the mega
I'll be honest with you, yeah.
is ridiculous. It's never going to change anything. We have just gone and signed. We are the biggest team in the world still. We've been crap for 10 years. And we have just gone and signed the biggest new manufacturer and the biggest new shirt sponsorship deal in the history of English football. Do you know why? Because our delusional, absolutely hypocritical fan base keep buying the products. There's a guy that's been tweeting all over the international break how much of a parasites the Glazers are. First game back, I see him tweeting, I'm so glad to be home. There he is with his megastore bag. I'm like, how mad, how strange is that? Honestly, I try not to speak about it because I don't care about losing followers per se. Man United fans hate being called out for their responsibility in this situation. We have to boycott financially and threaten them with further boycotts if they don't sell. Again, they're eventually going to sell the club. It will eventually happen. It hasn't been taken off the market like the rumors suggested. But it's just sacking Ten Hag is a short-term fix. It's like taking a painkiller to get rid of the headache, but when what you really got wrong with you is a brain tumor. It's literally just kicking the can down the street. And until every single Man United fan wakes up, every single big Man United fan channel says this. I'm talking, listen, I don't like that. No, I'm not even going to say it because it's going to cause a beef. So it's going to cause a beef. I'm going to say it off camera. I can't. But people have access now to the players, to the managers, and they still don't ask questions about this sort of stuff. Why?
They won't, because they want their own channel to do well. They want their own channel to do well. They don't give a shit. They're not proper. They're just there for views, likes, money. At the end of the day, football club, if you love your football club, you get involved and you sort it out. There's people in the chat going, 115 charges. Yeah, we've just won the treble. We've got 115 charges. You've got a fucking bucket off the Glazers and your ground stinks of piss. You know what I mean? So, don't worry about us and our charges. We'll sort them out in court. Even if Manchester City got found guilty and relegated to League Two, we'd still be in a better position than them. Still be in a better position than United. People are just too busy telling everyone how great and big Man United are, but they're doing nothing about it. People took the piss out of Saeed, yeah, for trying to do something. But you've got to respect him. At least he tried to do something. He stood there in the rain and sleet and snow because he loves Man United Football Club. Yep. And it might not have worked, but he stood there and he's got his heart's in the right place. But these Glazers and all that, people just see, oh, well, they're spending money. They're not spending money. They're spending money on the squad. They've spent nothing on the academy, nothing on the stadium, nothing on the infrastructure around Old Trafford. It's just falling apart right in front of the fans' eyes. But they'd rather tell me that Manchester is red than fix it. Go fix it.
Do you know what's crazy? I said the other day to people, everyone's free to type what they want. Everybody's free to have their own opinion. But the 115 charges is such dead banter now. Until it's proven, it's
I love
dead.
It. I love it.
Yeah, you do. I find it embarrassing now. I look at it as it almost means
all they've got, Terrace. That's all they've got. That's all they've got. They're praying that Man City get charged with something, because if they don't, they're going to realise that shit, Manchester City are just fucking better than us, and our team are really shit. So that's what they're praying for. It's the last hope of in the football world that Man City are guilty. But if they're not, then that's it. It's game over. Man City's just ruining football. We're taking you apart on and off the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, mate, no one's catching us, mate. We ain't going nowhere.
Mate, we ain't catching you at all until things change. And listen, as I say, if people have access to the club, I understand they'll be restricted to things they can't say, and they're making a business decision which best serves their family, and I absolutely respect it to that point. I just don't want to hear any Glazer talk at other times from individuals like that, because I feel like you've made your bed and you have to lie in it. Like, I had an argument not long ago with my eldest son got bought a Man United kit because he'd been asking for one by his family in Ireland, and he's got it and he's wearing it, and he doesn't live with me. He lives in Ireland, as everybody knows, and I'm fuming because I'm like, I just don't want. I can't. By the way, I can't control what another family does. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not Don Corleone. It is what it is. And they're like, "Why are you so angry?" I'm like, I don't want anyone giving money to this club. Like, my kid don't. Now my little boy Jackson's like, "Dad, well, Archie's got one. Can I have one?" I'm like, No, it's called Richards in my house. That's probably more what I was annoyed about. I just feel like Man United fans have got to practice what we preach. And I know it's hard. Genuinely.
And it won't, because
if
you stop buying shirts, Dave across the road, who's a knobhead from London that's never been to Old Trafford, he'll buy 4 shirts for his family. So that's what you're up against.
Yeah, but do you know what I think though, Steve? Like, on a real level, I hear that a lot. I really think if the big influential fan channels, the guys that run all the fanzines in Manchester, and then there are certain, I know one calls them top reds, I don't really like the expression, but there are certain match-going Man United fans who carry so much weight and influence. And if they all took a stance and put it out publicly that, please everybody boycott this, please everybody don't buy this, please everybody refrain from doing this, look, you wouldn't change it a snap of the fingers, but I do believe you'd create a ripple effect. How do I know this? I'm tiny in comparison to these individuals. I must have had, Steve, in the last year, I'm being conservative when I say 500, but either replies or DMs from people saying, I've listened to you, or I already boycotted, but you've made me believe it's the right thing. And I feel like those 500 people easily have influenced at least one other person. So suddenly, and if those 500, it's a ripple effect. It's small and often, and that's what we need to do. What I don't like is this excuse of, well, there's no point me not buying a kit because I'm not going to be able to stop some dude in Australia or some dude in America from buying a kit. And that attitude to me is, well, you can still do your bit. You can still influence. If I can influence 10, if every Man United fan could influence 5 other Man United fans to not buy a kit, to not spend money at the ground. I'm not even saying give your tickets up straight away. Maybe the first step is you don't spend any money at the ground when you're there. No programs, no scarves, no drinks. You know, whatever it is, you don't spend. That would damage them by millions of pounds a year. Look at the new shirt sponsor we got. We only get that because of how many shirts we sell. Even if we reduced the number by 30 or 40%, the club wouldn't get all of that money in because they have to hit certain widgets every single year. So you don't even need everybody, Steve, to take part in this, which is why I was very disappointed that my eldest was bought a Man United kit. In fairness, like, the people banter you because every Christmas, one of my brothers who supports Liverpool buys me a Man United kit, which of course I don't wear. I throw it away, and they just say they do it because they want to keep funding the Glazers, which is what it is. It's because I speak about it publicly, and you'll get a bit of that. But look, I hear with you. When it comes to Man United, we can criticize everything wrong Ten Hag does. We can blame him for everything that's currently going wrong at Manchester United. But when it comes to fixing us to the medium to long term, sacking him will have zero impact on that. How do I know? I've got 10 years of proof and 5 previous examples of doing exactly what Man United fans are calling for now, and it hasn't worked. So for me, having 10 years of a 10-year body of work, a 10-year case study of doing exactly what certain Man United fans are demanding now, not working, versus what I've been asking for 10 years that nobody's tried yet. My action is the only thing we haven't tried. And they tell me it won't work. But yet all their methods have been tried and tested, and we're still fucking here. That's the matter. In my personal opinion, Steve, most people don't have the stomach to truly sacrifice. And I said before, maybe what we also all have to do is all stop covering Man United. No transfer news, no match reactions, no watch-alongs, completely boycott everything. And maybe that's the end result. But the only way it works is if everybody starts doing it. And you start small and you work up to it and you escalate these things. And I'm up for doing whatever it takes. But I need people to buy in with me. But as I say, I don't think people are prepared to make personal sacrifice for the betterment of their club. Because for a lot of people, they don't love the club that deeply. They like Man United. They're fans of Man United, but they're not supporters of the club. They don't care. That's just my opinion. And by the way, that's not aimed at any YouTuber. That's just a general take on Man United fans, personally. And by the way, I don't think other clubs are too different. I think a lot of Liverpool, there'll be a lot of Newcastle, there'll be a lot of Arsenal, that in those moments where it's crap, I like that. Newcastle fans could have done a lot more to get Mike Ashley out, but they didn't. Could have done a lot more. But yeah, look, that's just me. I'm going to stop ranting about it now.